If you have pain or numbness in the butt, the hips, down the back of the legs, especially while getting out of bed or moving the hips, then this one is for you. Hey, my name's Nick. Today, let's look at stretches and release techniques you can do for piriformis syndrome. If you have pain or numbness in the butt, the hips, down the back of the legs, especially while getting out of bed or moving the hips, then this one is for you. First of all, none of this is a replacement for going to see a doctor. They're the only ones who can give you an accurate diagnosis. But the exercises and stretches we are going to cover are minimally invasive. If you have pain and numbness in the legs and the hips, there's a good chance it will help. And if not, then it will feel pretty good anyway. So, what is piriformis syndrome? Basically, it's when the sciatic nerve gets pinched by the piriformis muscle. The sciatic nerve exits the lumbar and sacral vertebrae, passes underneath the piriformis, and continues down the back of the leg. And if the piriformis is inflamed or spasmed, it can pinch the nerve, causing pain and numbness in the hips and legs. Not to be confused with sciatica, which has basically the same symptoms and is also caused by pinching the sciatic nerve, but pinched here at the spine instead of at the hips. That's why it's good to get a diagnosis from a doctor, someone who can tell the difference, tell one from the other. Okay, so we're going to go over 3 exercises you can do at home to target the piriformis and relieve pressure on the sciatic nerve. We have a trigger point release, we have a stretch, and an isometric contraction. These 3 together I found to be a very powerful combination for restoring pain-free mobility. But before we jump into it, if you like this video and you want to see more releases, hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. Okay, so our tools today. We will need a floor and a wall, a tennis ball or some other kind of massage ball, and a block or a firm cushion. We are going to be getting down on the ground today, so if that's a problem, then this might not be the sequence for you. If that's the case, then send me a message, leave a comment, and we'll try to find a better modification. Also, final note, the breath is important. It's an important part of relaxing spasmed muscles. If you are not already familiar with deep, relaxed, controlled breathing, then check out this short video here before we get started. So we're going to start with a trigger point release, but before we come down to the floor, stand up and we'll spend a little bit of time finding the bony landmarks that we need to find the piriformis. First, find your sacrum. The sacrum is the flat part at the back of the hips. If you follow your spine down to the pelvis and bring your hand between your cheeks, that's the sacrum. We're also looking for the greater trochanter of the thigh bone, the lateral side of the thigh bone right up near the hip. So if you bring your hand to the side of your hips like you're going to bring your hand into your pocket, palm flat on the side of the hips, and rotate the leg left and right, swiveling on the heel, you'll feel a bone on the side of your hips, on the side of your thigh, wiggle back and forth underneath your palm. That's what we're looking for. Between those 2 bony landmarks is the piriformis. Now, the mistake most people make when coming to the piriformis is they come kind of straight on, head on from the back into the meat of the tissue. The problem with that is the piriformis is deep. It's underneath all of the fat and muscle of the hips. So the best way to approach the piriformis is obliquely, starting at the side closer towards the thigh bone. So where you feel the bony landmark underneath your hand, just behind that, and obliquely in towards the direction of the sacrum. So that's the idea. Now we're going to come down to the floor and see if we can put it together. So come, lie down on the ground, stretch the leg of the side that you're working on out straight, with your ankle resting on a block or a cushion, your knee slightly bent, and the whole leg rotating to the side. Take your ball, bring your ball to that spot we just looked at, kind of the outside of the thigh, just behind that bony landmark. And we're going to roll the pelvis over the top of the ball, using the strength of the other leg to push the hips up and over the top of the ball and apply pressure obliquely in towards the sacrum. Now, admittedly, finding the piriformis probably takes some time and practice, some clues that you'll be on the right track. If you feel a muscle that is denser and more sensitive than the muscles around it, that's a good sign. If the muscle begins to soften and to diminish in intensity as you hold pressure there, you're probably on a trigger point. Again, breath here is important. Now, as you're playing around trying to find the right spot to put the ball, it's okay if you don't get it right the first time. It probably trigger points in different muscles around the hips, and it's totally fine to take a more global approach and treat the whole lateral aspect of the hips here. So hold, breathe, about 10 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds, rest, reset. You can repeat this same one, or if you have the mobility, cross your ankle over the opposite knee. Here the piriformis is in a bit more of a stretched position, but the application is the same. Ball goes in the exact same spot. Roll the hips over the top of the thigh. With the piriformis in a more stretched position, you might find lesions of spasmed muscle that you didn't the first time. So hold, breathe, release. And again, if you have the mobility to bring your knee in even higher, you might repeat again or repeat either of the previous. So repeat this trigger point release 3 to 5 times, holding for 10 to 20 seconds each time. If you need to spend more time exploring the whole region, that's totally fine too. Back pain messes with your sleep. Lack of sleep makes the pain worse. Sign up for a free course and just make it stop. You'll get beginner yoga sequences you can do from bed, in-depth guides on how to treat muscle pain on your own, and easy to follow breathing exercises to stop stress. Find the link below and start for free. Next, we're going to be looking at a stretch at the wall. Take your block or a cushion near the wall, sit your hips onto the block, and swivel on your hips to bring your legs up the wall and your back down to the ground. So here, the back of the hips, comfortably resting on a block, legs up the wall. Cross the ankle of the side you're going to be working on over the opposite knee and stretch the piriformis by bending the knee of the leg that's still on the wall, slowly increasing the depth of the stretch, bringing the thigh, the shin, the foot in towards the chest. Once you feel the stretch down the outside of the hips, you've gone far enough. There's no need to push yourself any farther. The benefit of doing this stretch at the wall as opposed to the floor is that it's very easy to modify. If you have a hard time getting your ankle over the knee, it's totally fine. Roll away, reset with your hips farther away from the wall. And you'll find that you have more space to bring your ankle over the knee, but the same thing, bend the knee until you feel a stretch down the outside of the hips. Pause, hold and breathe for about 5 breaths or 30 seconds, and then rest, reset, and repeat. As you repeat, you might find you're able to get the shin, the foot, the ankle in closer towards the chest, but again, don't push it. Hold the stretch for as long as is comfortable, 30 seconds or so, and then rest, release, and try again. As you work into it, you might find you have more space to work deeper. The last exercise we're going to be doing for the piriformis is an isometric engagement. So lie down on your side with your back to the wall, bend your knees, and we're going to be doing a kind of like a Jane Fonda style clamshell, but we're going to hold at the top. Take your block between the top leg and the wall and push your knee, push your leg into the block. Feel the glutes and the piriformis engage as you push. So here, we're retraining the muscle to engage and relax without spasming. Hold the block at the wall for about 5 deep breaths or 30 seconds or so, and then relax. You might stretch the leg out, and then repeat. Again, repeat 3 to 5 times, and then rest. So there you go, 3-part sequence for piriformis syndrome. If the piriformis is spasming and impinging the sciatic nerve, I think you'll find that the combination of trigger point release, stretching, and then engaging the muscle works pretty well. You may need to go through the sequence a couple of times, but when you're done, try a short walk, try a little bit of mobility through the hips, see if it feels any better. All right? Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if this helps. Other than that, take care, enjoy your practice, and see you next time.